Hello, good morning. You're welcome to the tutorials this morning. Um, my name is Joy Agagwu, as you already know. Um, this is IELTS tutorial. Okay, so let's invite them. Please come on board. Um, let's get started. All right, how are we doing? I hope you're fine. If you're watching me for the first time, actually, I've been teaching on other platforms, but this is my first time beginning to teach with on YouTube, really. And I just want to explore that option. Let's see how that goes. It might work well, it might work better, just to have something on ground for people who will come around later on who are not able to follow live, but they can come around later on to have something to watch. And so yes, if you think that you know someone who needs IELTS tutorials, it's free of charge. You can direct them to this place as well to have a look at what we have. um yeah, so generally I will be talking about IELTS IELTS just before the classes begin in details. The full meaning of IELTS is an International English Language Testing System. It's an examination that many countries require or ask you to write if you're coming there for admissions, if you're getting admissions to go study or to work, especially as a health worker and some engineers as well. And it depends on the countries. They require different types from you. Generally, there are two types of IELTS modules. We have the academic and the general module. And the academic module is basically what the United Kingdom use either for their studies or for practice as a nurse with the registration bodies, or as a doctor, as a medical lab scientist, or whatever you're coming in as into the system. What they'll ask you to write is the IELTS academic module. For Canada, the US, and some other countries, they accept the IELTS in general. Okay. The thing is, both modules are interrelated. The speaking is the same, the listening is the same. The difference is majorly in the writing. All right. While IELTS academic is concentrating in their tax one, they concentrate on graphs, different types, report writing. The IELTS general module is letter writing, more of letter writing, different types of letter writing. That's basically the difference in the writing, really. Both exams can be taken same day. It depends on the modules and the center. When you want to register, you need to know what module, okay, you need before you register so that you can get the right date and time for your examinations. There are this class will be focusing majorly on IELTS academic. Okay, so IELTS academic is what we focus on, and that's it. So today we will be taking a class. I know Chinyere is watching now. It's actually a one-on-one class. I just want to use this platform to see how it goes. We may go back to the ones that we have been using for you until your classes are over, but I'll be dropping in videos in this place from time to time so that other people, when they come in, they can gain from what has happened previously, bring themselves up to date with what has been happening on the page and the lessons that has been taught already so they don't miss out completely. You can type. I'm sure that you can write. Chinyere, if you are live, just let me know that you're live. I can see that we're more than one watching this, so I suppose that it is you, Chinyere. Type something to let me know. It's been enabled for you to write, all right? So we have done both sides and opinion with you, We just gone over the band descriptors really. IELTS writing is what I'm still doing with you, and we have done the opinion essays, both sides and opinion. Today we'll be dealing with two question essay. Okay, so generally there are two types of tasks in the writing. We have writing task one and writing task two. Writing task one is majorly about report writing. We've done that already. And writing task two, it's about essays, academic style of essays, where you will ask the question, you're told something, they give you a question prompt, and they expect you to write. You're welcome, Chinyere. You're welcome. I can say welcome on board. You can drop your questions or let me know when to repeat anything said. Okay. So yes, we will be doing the IELTS one two question essay today. All right. Um, I'll go back to WhatsApp and correct your work, and then I can give you a feedback and we'll move on. I decided on this platform because it's more like there's less distractions for you and for me. You can just keep watching, and if we need to ask question, then we can pause and type your question, and then we can talk about it. We can actually interact here as well while we're building, like something that can be kept for future use for someone else. Okay. So today is IELTS two question essay. IELTS question writing task two has three types of questions. There in writing task two, basically you're expected to write not less than 250 words, and I've advised us to write up to 280 and maximum of 290, 300. Don't write too many words, because when you write too many words, it mistakes are bound. Okay, they are bound. You are bound to make mistakes when you write too many words. So minimize your words. Just make sure that your work is precise, is concise, and is very clear. All right, it's clear for your examiner to see and to mark and grade you. And then ensure that your writing is legible. Make sure you finish, you write every aspect of the work. Okay, generally they are what we call the band descriptors in IELTS writing tasks, both one and two, but the expectations of each band descriptors is different. Okay, when we're talking about writing task one and writing task two, what is expected in the band descriptors for task one is different from what is expected in task two. For instance, for task completion, accomplishment or response for task one is expecting you to write not less than 150 words, while task two is expecting more than, over 250 words from you. So for band descriptors, you need to know what exactly it's required for each of the writing tasks, so that you don't mix them up thinking you're doing this, meanwhile you're supposed to be doing the other one. All right. So writing task one, task two band descriptors, one of them is task completion and response. Task completion and response. In task completion for task two is expecting you to write above 250 words, that you have answered every aspect of the question, that you have covered every area. For instance, the question is asking you to discuss both views and give your opinion. For your task achievement to be complete, we will say that you have written on one side of the opinion and on the other side of the argument, and that you have concluded and given your opinion. Also, about the structure of the writing task two, four paragraphs. Okay, not less than four paragraphs. That's what we have in task two. So for your task completion, is expecting you that your work has an introduction, it has a body paragraph one, a body paragraph two, and a conclusion. All right, that's the way to say that you have completed your task for the task achievement and response of task two. When we go into lexical resource, talking about your vocabularies, okay, talking majorly about the words that you use, your sentence formation, and all of that. Is about your words. It's about the things that you use, your cohesive devices, how you are able to make sentences that make sense, all right? Sentences that are linked together, the kind of English that you use to express yourself. That's what lexical resource is talking about, and then about your spellings as well. Then your I'm just running over this. It's something that we've done again and again. I'm just trying to bring to your remembrance what is expected. And then we talk about your coherence and cohesion, where I said it has to do with the flow between your work, flowing from point one to point two, not moving from point two to three, then back to two. No, you should not go back and forth when you're writing. You need to move along. There need to be that link, that cohesion, the progression between your work, between your write-up, so that there is clarity, okay, in what you're doing, and there's a flow in what you're writing. So coherence and cohesion. Cohesion has to do with the flow. Coherence has to do with your understanding. Your work has to be understood, all right? You need to write in a way that it's well understood by your examiner without having to ask you any further questions. The examiner does not need to say, oh, okay, so what do you mean here? Because you're not going to be there when they are marking their work, okay? So you should write in a legible manner, write in a way that the examiner can understand, is comprehensible, write in a way that there's a flow between your work, a progression, you're moving from point A to B and to C and to D and to the end of your work. All right. So we go over to the last one, the last but not the least, that is grammatical range and accuracy, talking about your grammar generally, avoiding errors in your writing, okay? Avoiding, like all the grammatical mistakes and errors where you speak wrong English, writing in a way that it grammatically makes sense. That's what grammatical range and accuracy is talking about. So here it has to do with your sentence formation. It has to do with your punctuations. Where are your commas? Where are your full stops? Where do you have an exclamation marks? Where do you have an exclamation mark rather? And where do you have a question mark and all of that? In a way that your work is making sense to as your examiner is reading it. That is grammatical range and accuracy. So straight to what we have before us, and it is two question essays. We have discussed that there are three types of writing types too. We have opinion essays, where all the do you agree or disagree, to what extent you agree or disagree, what is your opinion, or do you think that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. All these questions come under the opinion essays. Okay, then we have the both sides and the opinion, where you are asked to write about the advantages and disadvantages and give your opinion. Or they ask you, they say a question at the end of the day, they ask a question like what are the benefits and what are your opinion. So you need to, or they say discuss both views and give your opinion. So those are two question essays. All right. Today, the third question type is what we'll be discussing today, and that's the two question essay really. This type of questions of essay ask you, questions that has to do with one side and the other side. Some people call it problem and solution essay, but it's not about problem and solution. Sometimes it could be advantages and disadvantages. Sometimes it could be cause and effect, or caution kind of essay. So it depends. But whatever it is, this question type is testing your ability to discuss two aspects of a particular issue and to have a good band here equally for both sides. You must write equally for both sides. So questions like what problem does this cause, and what are some potential solutions, is a two question essay where there are two questions in one. Or you hear what are the causes of this problem and what are the potential solutions. Or you hear do you agree or disagree, and then what are the solutions. Now when you see a question like do you agree or disagree, they have made a statement and they're asking you to agree or disagree. Now when you agree, then you give the solution. When you disagree, then you state the solution. All right, you need to say why. So it is your why that you are saying on the other side. Your reason for agreement, you give it, or for disagreement, you state it out, and then you tell us the solution to this problem, how to stop them from occurring. All right. So that's two-question essay. Now, how do we write a two-question essay? When you are faced with a two-question essay question, what do you do? Number one is task analysis. You need to know what type of question it is. You know the two sides to be discussed. If they are saying advantages and disadvantages, or they're asking you problems and solutions, or they're asking you cause and effect, okay, you need to know, okay, this is a cause. So this one aspect is talking about the cause, and the other aspect is talking about the solution. When you have analyzed this task and know what is expected of you, then you go ahead to plan your essay. How do you plan your essay? You need to underline keywords in the essay, and then you note down their synonyms, useful synonyms, synonyms that can be used in that context, not synonyms because they are words that can be used in place of that word or that phrase, but in that context it's not useful, it's not going to make sense grammatically. When you use synonyms outside the context, it places you at a disadvantaged position, because at the end of the day, your work or your write-up will not make sense grammatically, and you will score a low mark for your grammatical range and accuracy. At the end of the day, it affects your general band for that score. So you decide what kind of response is required. Now in two-question essay, we know that the response required is to write on the one side and write on the other side as well. Then you need to brainstorm, okay, on the key question. You need to brainstorm. Brainstorm on what the question is asking you. Brainstorm on it. You need to understand exactly what is expected, so you decide on the structure. What is the structure of a two-question essay? It's the same as the structure of the writing task too. All right? The same as the structure of the writing task too. Now, there's an introduction. Then we have what? Body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and a conclusion. For your introduction, you rephrase the topic and introduce both questions. How do you introduce both questions? This essay will discuss the cause and the effect. They are not asking you for an opinion, excuse me. They are not asking your opinion here. So this essay will discuss the cause and the effect. Remember that we say an introduction comprises of the general statement and the specific statement. Your general statement is a paraphrase, a rephrase of the topic, okay? While your specific statement is what? Is what you have been asked to do, your question, your task, your assignment in that question. Your assignment is for you to discuss both sides. There's no opinion here. It's for you to discuss the advantages and disadvantages. Your general question is a question prompt paraphrased. So that is your underlined words put together using synonyms said in your own language, your own words, without changing the meaning of the statement. Okay? So, what do we do when you are faced with a two-question essay? Introduce the task, write the body of the task, and then conclude. In introducing the task, you are paraphrasing the question prompt. After that, what next? The next thing you do is to give your specific statement, which is this essay will discuss what and what, cause and effect, or problem and solution, or advantages and disadvantages. Is it merits or demerits? What is the question? So that's what the essay will be discussing. That said will give you an introduction. Then the body paragraphs. Now remember that there are two sides of this question. Now it says cause and effect. So body paragraph, which is your second paragraph, will discuss the causes. Then body paragraph 2 will discuss the effects. You don't do one cause, one effect in one paragraph. No, you do finish with the cause. They say discuss They say discuss the causes and the effect. So you discuss the causes first and then go to the effect. So causes in body paragraph 1, effects in body paragraph 2, and then you move over to your conclusion, which is your fourth paragraph, your final paragraph. In concluding, you need to be very careful the kind of language you use. Okay? In concluding a two-question essay, you can use words like conclusively or in conclusion. People use words like to summarize. Fine. If it is a two-question essay, you can use words like in a nutshell. You can use words like in summary, because you are not contradicting yourself. In summary, what to summarize what you have been writing, I can now go ahead and say that the causes are this and this and this, while the solution are this. Meaning that if I read your first paragraph, which is your introduction, and your last paragraph, I should have a glimpse into your body paragraphs. Okay? Yes. If you have any question or you want me to stop in the middle, please go ahead and stop me. Just let me know. Type in something and interact. All right? We are going to be doing a discussion, and that discussion will go to your WhatsApp. And that's when we'll put an end to this one and move over to your WhatsApp. Okay? All right. So this discussion, I'll just give you the question here and we can go to discuss it. I'm still trying to figure out how to use this. So I need to know if I'm able to share my learn how to share my screen on this. I've not been able to do that. I don't know if that is possible on this platform. Like I told you earlier on, it's just a test run of what is happening, of what can be done here, and all of that. So yes, we're still learning, isn't it? I'm still learning. I'm going to type the question here for your interaction. Okay. I'll type the question here for your interaction, and I'll keep streaming for you to, let's see, get the question across to you. Yep, the question is there as a comment now. Okay, so there's a number of words that YouTube can take, so we need to minimize what we type. The first one that you will find is the question, the statement really, then it will be followed by the question point. Okay. Okay, more common. All right, so you have the statement, and then we have, let's see, then the question is following next. So we'll discuss it. You are going to type to me what you think about this. All right. Now, next to it is your question. You need to type. The question says the use of illegal drugs such as heroin and cocaine are becoming more common in many countries. All right. the use is becoming more common in many countries. Now, the question is, what are some of the problems associated with drug abuse, and what are the possible solutions? What are the possible solutions? What are some of the problems that are associated with drug abuse, and what are the solutions? What are the solutions? Let's see if that alone can give us what we want. Okay. One. Good. So I've succeeded. I was able to put the question and the statement together. The use of illegal drugs such as heroin and cocaine are becoming more common in many countries. What are some of the problems associated with drug abuse, and what are the possible solutions? You need to type to me what are the problems associated, the issues, the challenges, okay, the effects, negative effects, because when we say a problem, it's a negative effect of something. What are the negative effects of this? So I'm waiting here. If you are going to type for me a general statement and a specific statement, a general statement and a specific statement, and then you go over to tell me what the problems are. You can just list them. You don't need to explain or expand on them. Okay, so write them out now and let's see how we go with that. Write them out. Let's see how we go with that. Okay. All right. So um, here we are. Okay, there's a task ongoing. If you watch the comment section, you will find the task ongoing. We're discussing writing task 2, and it is two question essay today, talking about questions that come in form of problem solution, cause and effects, advantages and disadvantages. They are all grouped under two question essay. This kind of questions are expecting you to write on both sides, okay, on two questions in one. All right, when it says the cause and the effect, it's asking you rather to write about the causes first, then you move over to the effect, and then you can have a conclusion. So in this class, I've been able to explain the band descriptor, what your examiner is expecting of doing this kind of question. You're expected to write not less than 250 words. Okay, I advise people not to write too many words, maybe at most 300 words, 280 to 300 words, because in the multitude of words and mistakes are always present. And when you have too many mistakes and errors in the write-up, it reduces your overall marks, okay? So we have also said that you should, for good score in coherence and cohesion, you need to move from one point to the other. You need to follow the structure of the writing task to where we have the introduction, the body paragraphs, and a conclusion. All right. So for your coherence and cohesion here, you will want to write your introduction, which is a paraphrase of your question prompt, and your specific statement first, and then followed by your body paragraph. So in body paragraph one, you should talk about the causes or the problems or the advantages. Whatever part of the question comes first is what you should discuss first in your body paragraph one. And then you can move to your body paragraph two, where you will be talking about the solutions. Okay, so if it's a cause and solution, or cause and effect, or advantages and disadvantages, you're here talking about the advantages, then the disadvantages. You don't scatter them, you don't mix them up really, where you pick one disadvantage, put them together in the paragraph. It makes your work really clumsy, and when your work does not flow, there's no progression, there's no cohesion really between your work, you may score a reduced mark for your coherence and cohesion, which invariably will affect your overall score, your overall band. Okay. Also, for your grammatical range and accuracy, you need to be careful where you put all the commas and the full stops, the question marks, your exclamation marks, and all of that. You should be conscious of your punctuations. Okay, you should write in a way that your work makes sense grammatically. Lexical resource, all right, talking about your vocabularies, you need to know what words are related to the topic question, because every question has a topic, all right? So you need to know the words that are related, that can be used in discussing that kind of question. Those things, having them in mind, will help you to score a good mark if you adhere to the rules and the regulations, okay, of this writing. So today, talking about two-question essay, and the question says that the use of illegal drugs such as heroin and cocaine are becoming more and more common in many countries. The question is, what are some of the problems associated with drug abuse, and what are the possible solutions? The problems that are associated with drug abuse. You need to know the topic here is drug abuse, okay? Problems associated with drug abuse. Then you write about the possible solution to these problems that you have identified. Don't identify a problem and leave it unanswered. Don't identify a problem and leave it unsolved. When you identify maybe broken home or family or whatever as a cause of a child or an adult going into drug abuse, when you identify peer pressure, then what is the solution to peer pressure? When you identify lack of regulations as a cause for your for drug abuse, okay, or for drug misuse or whatever, what is the solution to that? So that your work will make sense. If you talk about school dropout as a cause for drug abuse, for people going into doing drugs, if you identify that, then what is the solution to dropout, to school dropout? What are you going to do? Okay, what are you going to do? So yes, you need to write in a way that your work Makes sense. All right. Thank you. I can see the reasons you're giving. I've seen one of them. I hope to see that in your essay by the time you have concluded, really. So that is one reason. What's the next reason? You need to tell me what exactly you want to write about. That way I know what I'm looking out for. Okay? All right. Damage to body system is an effect. Growth retardation is an effect. You see, where the problem is, you need to understand the question. The question says, what are some of the problems associated with drug abuse and what are the possible solutions? So damage to body system, cool. So how do we solve that? Loss of job, how do we solve that? Growth retardation in pregnancy for women who are pregnant and they are doing drugs. How do we solve that problem? So you should identify a problem and identify or profile a solution as well to that problem. Can you just go ahead and do your write-up and let's see what happens at the end. Let me see if I'm able to make let's see what we can have here. Okay. If you have a question, you can raise your hand, you can type your question there, and we can answer at the end of the day. Yeah. And, So what's happening? Chinyere, I'm not hearing anything from you. Are you writing? Typing, yeah? Okay, addiction. Just mentioned addiction, drug addiction. That's good. And we need to do something about addiction. Okay. All right. So we will go over to the other platform where we use, and then I'll wait for you to send in your work. If you're watching or you're going around, it's an IELTS class. This is just a test run because we'll be using more of this platform for our classes. I do hope that you have been able to learn one or two things from this class. See you again. Please, you can share this link with people, encourage them to subscribe and click the notification icon so they get an update of our future classes when we do come on. Thank you very much. Do have a lovely day ahead. Bye.